Congratulations on this extraordinary film. It takes you on such a journey from, I don't know, a place that feels really dark and kind of hopeless to, you know, somewhere light. And I really appreciate the that journey that you took us on. Um, Vicky, because we didn't speak for Dirty God, I'd just like to ask you a little bit about that in terms of like what acting experience did you have before you made that film?
I didn't. I didn't have no acting experience. I don't know if they called it the same in the States, but I was a street cast here in the UK. Sacha was looking for a person with real scars, and she came across my story online, asked me, tested me for a year because I thought it was a scam, so I said no. And then casting director called me, and Sacha came over from Amsterdam, and the rest is history.
And it's been a few years now, so what was the experience like of doing that film, that first film, if you sort of reflect back on it?
Um, well, I've definitely improved a lot. I can say that from the first film to now. I'm a lot stronger in myself. With Dirty God, I wasn't a professional actress. I didn't know how close the camera needed to be and why Sasha wanted to be so close to my scars, and I freaked out, and I didn't like the fact that the whole world was going to see my scars on a giant screen, because I'd hidden for so long. But then looking back to Silver Haze, it was just Silver Haze was easy, not easy in the sense, but it was not a much nicer experience for myself. I could enjoy it a lot more and understand, and yeah, so it's just more awareness really of how I've evolved and become a lot stronger.
And yeah, you mentioned covering your scars, and it's something that your character in Silver Haze, Franky, talks about, which sort of leads us to the fact that, Silver Haze is quite a personal film and partly inspired by your own story. And I wondered how that idea to do something more personal came about. Maybe you want to pick things up there, Sasha.
So because with Dirty God, Vicky and me, we traveled all over the world, and um we had so much fun making Dirty God, but then we both really wanted to do something again. And Vicky had so many interesting and beautiful stories about her own life, and I was so impressed with her as an actress, but also seeing her do the Q&As and talking to people and comforting people, that I thought, like, yes, let's do another film. But let's do a film based upon your own life. And I was yeah, and I was inspired by her and her sister and her family, and the way, like, a lot of drama happened, but there was also a lot of laughter and love in it, and that was something that I wanted to portray in the movie.
And so, because you had spent that time together, were you able to write sort of quite organically in a way rather than sort of sitting down and interviewing Vicky for what might go into the script?
I think we did do some sort of interviews, but they were more like funny interviews where, like, when we were, for instance, in Poland, we were on a festival and we were just having dinner, and we were just talking about it. So I think that happened, but then I think this film was very organically, in the sense that I wanted to make something very free. So I wrote a script, and based upon that, there was a lot of improvisation. And for me, it was like we shot it with a very small crew. It was very low budget, but I wanted to have time. So we had more time than usual, and we had time to experiment and play around with the material, basically.
And what was your reaction to doing something that was inspired by your own life, Vicky?
Um, I mean, will be forever grateful. I mean, not many people get the opportunity, and I was just so lucky to have, Sasha's one of my best friends, and have someone that I trust take on such a traumatic story and turn it into such a beautiful piece is just, yeah, I'm very grateful. I never expected it in my life 10 years ago, never.
And you know, this wasn't a sort of a movie version of your life where you were stepping onto like sound stages. You know, you were shooting it in the area where you grew up and live now, I guess, like in Dagenham and what's the seaside town? The
Out the North Sea.
South End. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what was it like shooting in those locations, first of all, like for you?
It just made it feel a bit more real, you know, and Dagenham's not the most beautiful place in Essex to visit anyway. And I think Tibor, the cameraman, really captured what Dagenham is like. You know, it's a bit rough and it's not great, but filming here and just it's just more personal, you know, just more like show. I don't know. It's like a like the crew. Most of the crew were Dutch, and you know, to be able to show them part of where I live, I guess, is just yeah, in itself is nice.
And what about your brother, your sister, and your nephew um, acting in the film? Like, what was that aspect like for you? They were all great in the film too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm so proud of them all. You know, it was just really, really nice to be able to be like the big sister as such and be like, you know, and just watch them. And even when we was at Berlin for the premiere, I took a step back and let them walk down the red carpet, which was just really nice. And it was just like, you know, with it's not just me that's been through a lot. My whole family have been through it as well, you know, and it's just nice to be able to share that experience with them. And now they just want to be actors. Like my brother's a roofer, and he just wants to be involved in films. And my sister's works in retail, and you know, she's any opportunity she can get, she wants to jump in. And yeah, it's just great.
And how about for you, Sasha, having that mix of non-professional actors, and then you also have Esmé Creed-Miles in the cast too. How do you sort of navigate that as a director? I guess you're always working with people individually when you have actors because everyone works in a different way. But I'd love to get a bit of an insight from you in that.
Yeah, it is exactly how you say it is. I mean, everybody works in a different way. I mean, even if you have professional actors, you try to find out how to communicate with them and whatever they need and how to get the best performances out of them. And I think it's not that different with professional or non-professional actors. I mean, and like Vicky was definitely one of the professional actors. Now she did now 2 feature films, of course, and some short films. And I mean, yes, so that's not very different. Like working with Charlotte, for instance, it was great, and I think she's so good in the film as well. But sometimes, like she would call Uber Eats, and then all of a sudden she was eating McDonald's underneath the set, basically. And I was like, okay, you cannot do this. But she was like, yeah, I'm hungry. So that's, I think, maybe the difference in that way. And then Archie, who plays Jack, who is autistic, that was also like, but that was more confrontational with myself, learning like that I needed to be very precise in the words that I used, and that I sometimes was sloppy with words, and then he wouldn't understand what I was saying, or he would take it very seriously what I was saying, and I meant it not like that, or meant like figuratively speaking. And so those kind of things were yeah, interesting. And but everybody was very lovely. And with Esme, I worked before on Hannah, and she was, I mean, then I asked her and I said, okay, we're going to do this film. We won't have any trailers. We won't have any makeup. We won't have any wardrobe even. But do you want to be part of it? And she loved Vicky and the Dirty God. And she was really like, yes.
Mm.
So that was great. And they had such a great, yeah, connection.
Franky and Flo are quite both quite troubled characters in their own way, so putting them together is really fascinating on screen. Vicky, what was it like for you working so closely with Esmé? And I believe some of the dialogue was improvised, so maybe you could just give me a bit of an idea of that, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, working alongside Esme, she taught me a lot because she's more advanced in her career than I am, and she taught me a lot, and she said to me that I've taught her a lot. So it was just a really nice connection, and we clicked straight away when we first met. And I don't think there is a better actress that could have played Florence. And the way Esme played Florence was just, you know, she, every time she gave me something, I gave her something back, and we just bounced off each other. And especially the scene where we're in the bedroom and we're arguing and it becomes quite nasty verbally. I mean, the slang and the language comes from my mouth anyway. I've got really bad language, and I apologize for that. But with the fight scene, for example, or the argument was, it was improvised, and it was I wanted that scene to feel as nasty and as uncomfortable as it could be, because I have had that in past relationships, and I think it's quite important that it is shown in a movie like this, because them kind of arguments do actually happen in relationships, and a lot of people, and it becomes a bit of a taboo subject, and not many people get involved. So it's nice to be able to see the realism of it,
Yeah,
and that's it is what it is kind of thing.
because when we're going through something, we tend to like hurt people that are near us, don't we? And it's a lot more to do with that really than the words
And
in a way, isn't it? You know.
Franky wants to save everybody, and she realizes later on that she actually can't save everybody. Alice has cancer, and Florence is a very broken person, and she can't be saved. Alice can't be saved. She could do well by Jack, and be there as a support. And then she realizes that actually it's her and her family that needs saving, not someone else. So it's a pretty hard film, but very proud of it.
And in terms of like the homophobia that we see, Franky, well, and Florence kind of experiences, that's something one of the aspects that came from your own life, and was it important to have that there in the
I think
film?
yeah, it's important to have that. But it wasn't necessarily from my own life story. There was an incident in London a few years ago where two girls got on a bus and they were really badly attacked by a group of young boys because they didn't kiss each other, and they were made to kiss each other and perform inappropriate acts on a bus in public. So that idea, that's where that come from. But the family homophobic abuse when my mum and my brother, for example, that is completely dramatized. My mum is very, very accepting of my gayness and such. And so is my family, I always say I'm the rainbow sheep of the family. So yeah.
That's a nice way to describe it, I think. Yeah. Just finally, because this is closely based on your life, or inspired by your life. Was there a sense of sort of catharsis or sort of healing as you sort of finished the film and now sharing it with us?
Yeah, it's definitely made me realize, and that just fighting for justice all my life isn't going to get me anywhere, so I've come away and realized that, I need to live my life for what it is and be strong and be a voice for people that are stuck in their trauma still, because I was stuck in it for over 15 years, and it was just, sometimes you do have to give up a fight to be able to move on. And that's what I've realized with making this film is it basically moving on from the past. Yeah.
Well, Vicky, Sasha, thanks so much. Great to meet you both over Zoom, and hopefully see you in the real world one day in person.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.